Everyone, and welcome to our cluster advising orientation for the natural sciences. My name is Annalise Loffer. I'm one of the assistant directors here in first year advising, and it is my pleasure to welcome you to today's event. If you all would be so kind as to let us know that you're here. So you can either scan the QR code here or click the link that's been provided in the Zoom chat so that we can check you in. We also encourage you to update your Zoom name so that it will be your first name, your last name, and your major. That helps us know who's in the room and who we're speaking to. And please, this session is being recorded, so we do recommend that you keep yourself muted during this session. So what are we going to cover today? We are going to be talking about what to expect in this main session about the transition from cluster advising or transition from first year advising to cluster advising. You'll find out what to expect when you enter cluster advising, as well as learn insights from experienced cluster advisors. You'll also then have a chance to go into breakout rooms and meet your cluster advising case team. So the advisors that will support you starting in May. You'll find out about some curricular highlights and helpful resources and opportunities related to your major as well. You'll get a chance to have any questions that you have answered by your cluster advising team. Note that really specific stuff might be best left for a future advising appointment, but if you have kind of general questions that are burning that you want to get answered now, and you'll get to know some next steps to prepare for sophomore year. But before we jump into that, we did just want to do a really brief intro activity. So we encourage you to use the emojis in Zoom. So you can go to the little react button and then you can choose a reactions. You can even choose more. And just give us a little insight into how you're feeling as you close out your freshman year and prepare for sophomore year. All right, I'm seeing a lot of excitement, lots of good thumbs ups. A little bit of it sounds like tired, some crying, laughing. Okay, so it's been an interesting year. All right, well, however it is that you are feeling going into this transition, we want to make sure that you know that you have a team of folks that are here to support you and that this is exciting. It's both a time to reflect on how your first year has gone and then also at a time of excitement as you prepare to kind of take on that next adventure in your USC journey. And so for the past, 8-9 months, if you are a fall admit, or the past 3 or 4 months, if you are a spring admit, you've been supported by first year advising. So you've had an assigned advisor here in our first year advising office. But continuing students, sophomores through graduation, are supported by cluster advising. So that's what we're really going to talk about today is what does cluster advising look like? Who are your cluster advisors? And what should you expect as you make that transition? To prepare you a little bit for what is coming up, we call this time of year our transition experience. So this is where we transition folks from first year advising to cluster advising. And this experience started with your pre-registration advising appointment when you met with your first year advisor, whomever that was, either in February or March or April. In that meeting, we talked about what you should be taking in your sophomore year and what your goals are for that next semester. We talked about how classes were going and kind of reviewed your spring term. Next up is what you're at right now, these cluster advising orientation sessions. This is where you learn what to expect in cluster advising, discover some sophomore year opportunities, learn a little bit more about things you might want to know as a sophomore, rising sophomore about your majors, and get that opportunity to get introduced to your cluster advising case team. Next up is our One Dornsife Fest, which is coming up on Thursday, where you'll also have the opportunity to meet your cluster advisors in person, celebrate the end of your first year with other students, advisors, faculty, staff, and alums. And then finally, coming up in May is what we call our official handoff, our fond farewell and welcome. So this is when you'll officially transition from first year advising to cluster advising. This is going to happen around that first week of May, and you'll get an email from your first year advisor letting you know that you're about to transition and kind of sending you some well wishes. And then you'll get an official welcome from your new cluster advising team. And at that point, you will officially be, in terms of advising, in your sophomore year and working with cluster advising. So I know I mentioned this on the last slide, but I just want to really encourage you, if you haven't signed up yet, to please join us at our One Dornsife Fest event on Thursday. This is an opportunity to connect with fellow freshmen. We're going to have an in-and-out truck, a bunch of swag, a chance at raffle prizes. And again, it's your first opportunity to meet the folks that are going to be presenting to you today in person. Maybe ask them some of those more personal questions that you might have, maybe a little more specific to you that maybe aren't as uh, adapt for a group setting. You'll also have the opportunity to connect with campus partners and faculty, meet alums and transfer students. So we really hope to see you there. And you can scan the QR code here, or there should be a link in the chat to RSVP if you haven't already. So with that, I want to introduce the cluster lead for our natural sciences cluster, Luis Ramirez, who will go through a little bit about what to expect in cluster advising.
Terrific. Thank you very much, Annalise. What a great introduction. Really appreciate that. So my name is Luis Ramirez. I am the Natural Science Cluster Lead. And over the next, I'd say about 15 minutes, we're just going to do broad strokes, give you a sense of what it is like to be in the cluster advising, be in the care of our advisors during the next, 3 years or so. And how that starts off, well, you are all rising sophomores, and this is where we find ourselves. And so we're really excited to be part of this transition with you, especially excited about the fest that's coming up on Thursday. But before we get there, some information for you to know about cluster advising and what to expect next. So just the sort of broad strokes here, and just discuss with you what the majors and how we are organized into academic focus areas within each cluster. Each focus area has a dedicated advising team. Focus area teams are here to ensure a few things: consistent support, shared expertise, flexible access to advising throughout your time at Dornsife. And these are going to be in the focus areas of the life sciences and physical sciences. That is all under the natural science cluster. So there are two of these areas. Once again, that's the life sciences and the physical sciences and math. What you're going to see in our next slide is how these are each broken down. So majors are organized into academic focus areas within each cluster. Each focus area has a dedicated advising team. Focus area teams ensure consistent support. Oh, I'm actually reading the same slide. Sorry about that. What you see before you, and in fact, some more details is being shared with you now in the drop down or in the chat, is a featuring more of the detailed information in the life sciences and the physical sciences. I'm just going to take a moment here so you can see where your major falls within these cluster areas of life sciences and the physical sciences. In the handout itself, you'll be able to see how the majors and the minors are broken down into these different areas of the clusters. So up until this point, you've been advised with first year advisors. So it's helpful to see kind of where is the transition? How is this going to differ? Well, the first year advisors were really terrific at being able to talk to you about majors and minors in Dornsife. And you had one advisor that was dedicated to doing that. They specialized in the first year curriculum, major exploration, and freshman opportunities. Assigned advisors would follow you even if you changed your major within Dornsife. Now, in cluster advising, CASE team of advisors who advise for all majors in a focus area, again, those are life sciences for one, physical sciences in the other, will be advising you in those respective areas. They'll specialize in major specific curriculum and student opportunities. Advising case teams will change if students change to a major in a different focus area. So, for example, if you're a major in mathematics, maybe the Bachelor's of Science, you would be under the physical sciences and math cluster. If you decide to change to neuroscience, that would then change your advising team to the life sciences. Students with majors and or maybe a minor in different focus areas will have multiple advising case teams. So for instance, human biology, you would have an advisor in the life sciences. And if you were minoring in statistics, you would have an advisor in physical sciences and mathematics. Now, your cluster advisors can help you in several different ways. Understanding major course offerings and academic policies. Sometimes when you're trying to understand what courses to take, it's very helpful to have an expert in your corner. Create a personal academic plan. So if you're thinking about how, and you may want to study abroad, creating a course plan will be very helpful in making some of those plans happen. Add a second major or a minor or explore a progressive degree. Some of you may have heard of the PDPs. Advisors, cluster advisors will be able to help you with that. They'll also be able to help you connect with faculty in your major or learn how to get involved with research. You can explore study abroad opportunities and faculty-led programs, engage in career opportunities, and prepare for what comes next. Refer you to resources such as academic or health and well-being, and make sure you're on track to graduate. Now, the next few slides, we're going to focus on, well, how do we connect with our advisors? Now, fortunately, you have a lot of experience already with Advise USC, so there's just going to be a few things that are going to differ. You can see your assigned cluster advisor in Advise USC. Many of you, since you've used this platform to connect with your advisor, your first year advisor, both for appointments and for support cases, you'll be able to understand like how this platform helps you connect. So in my success team that's highlighted here in yellow, you will be able to locate all members of your team. On the far right, you will see how it will break down the focus area team members so that you can identify them as you are trying to maybe make an appointment, even trying to maybe create a support case. Just a little note here that when, and I'm going to harken back to this, when you're trying to identify your success team, it's very helpful to use the success team list here to identify who is on your team. Utilize Advise USC cases to message your cluster advisor. This will be really helpful to be able to answer any questions, or maybe if you're planning something for the summer and you have a quick question, use the support cases to do this. Now, we do recommend that if you're going to submit a support case, go ahead and just create one support case at a time. You can send a message to any member of your case team as well. And just the same there, if you are going to send a message to an advisor, and if you have a support case that you are wanting to direct to an advisor, make sure you're just sending one support case to one advisor at a time. And when you submit your questions, expect anywhere from 3 to 5 business days. Now, when you're submitting a support case, you will go to your platform, the Advise USC platform. You'll select Advise USC. You'll go to Advisor Connect, which is the tab at the very top, create a new Advise USC case, and then you'll select Get Support from my current advisor. Now it'll say current advisor, but remember, you'll have a team of advisors that you can select from your focus area. So you'll select Next. And after you do that, you will be able to see before you some of the options here for creating a new support case. But I want to focus in on the part that says advisors. So note that the advisor dropdown list, you can reference the success team section that we just viewed when we were talking about the platform Advise USC to begin with. That will show your advisor and who it is in your focus area. Once you're ready, you'll select Create Case, and that'll submit the next steps. Now, booking advising appointment with your focus team, you can select from any of those that are part of the focus area. So the only sidebar on that is, only book one appointment at a time. Do not book multiple appointments. This will keep other fellow Trojans from meeting with an advisor. So one appointment at a time is what we recommend. You can meet with the same advisor regularly or meet with different advisors. And one last thing, if something happens, because we know life happens and you booked up an appointment, if you can't make an appointment, just make sure you cancel it so a fellow Trojan can take that appointment after you. Depending on where you are in your second year, third year, et cetera, mandatory pre-registration advising will really sort of follow this format of how many units you've completed for your degree. So depending on those units, you may be required to meet with a member of your advising case team prior to registering for future terms. So keep that in mind. You can see what term or what time of day that you would be registering, the date as well, of course, on OASIS, and you can also see it on web registration. So check your activity restrictions each term to see if you have mandatory advising restrictions or other holds that require you to meet with your academic advisor. One last thing. We will post a lot of information on Advise USC. So as you get your day started, we recommend that in the semester, you just check your Advise USC. We do post announcements on that first page. You can see what the latest opportunities are. Any interesting classes will be posted there, scholarships, fellowships, internship information, Maymester, overseas information really does get posted there. So we encourage students to take a look at that and select view all so you can see all the different information that's there. So with that, I thank you for being here, and I'll hand things back to Annalise. I'll just join the Cluster Advisor Insight team here.
All right. Thank you so much, Luis, for that kind of overview of what to expect from cluster advising, how to contact your cluster advisors, and also how to book appointments and all that good stuff. We're now going to go into a little panel. We have some of our experienced cluster advisors here, as well as Luis is also still here to answer questions. Elisa, Pablo, and Logan. So if you do have any kind of general questions, feel free to start putting them in the chat. If they're anything super major specific, I recommend you hold off on those until we go into our breakout rooms. But if you have any kind of general questions about cluster advising, please feel free to put them in the chat, and we'll get a few answers from our panelists. And so the first question that I want to ask is, do you recommend meeting with the same cluster advisor every time, or should I meet with different people? If I meet with someone new, will they be able to see the course plans and notes from meetings I had with other advisors on my case team?
I'll go ahead and address that. For sure, you should know that your notes, your advisor is documenting our meetings. We can see appointments, we can see support cases, all that information. We see course plans that have been generated by advisors, all in your information. We just need student ID oftentimes, and we can find you. So that is definitely something that will allow you to select from any of your focus area advisors. And even if you have a referral to an advising area that may be outside of your focus area, they too, that advisor in that other focus area will be able to see those notes as well.
Great. What is so is a cluster advisor a major advisor? And if you have to meet with a major advisor, if you see some sort of verbiage like that on a department website or in a program requirement, is that now my focus area case team?
Y'all take that one. So yeah, essentially, we're no longer focusing on just one department. We're focusing on the cluster. So to answer the question that was just posted on the chat, you can meet with, if you're a neuroscience advisor or student, you can meet with any one of your life sciences advisors. And as Luis mentioned, all the notes will be in the system. We will work as one to advise you. So if you can't meet with one of us, you can meet with another one, and we'll coordinate or talk to each other if needed to help you out with whatever questions you have.
I know we're going to talk about this probably a little bit in some of the breakout sessions, but we got a lot of questions about research and ways to find research in the natural sciences. Do you have any kind of general, not necessarily major specific advice for students that are looking to get involved in research and where to start?
I can take a stab at this one. Research is, very big, obviously, within the natural sciences department, especially maybe depending on the department. So we definitely recommend visiting like the department websites that you're in if you're doing math or chemistry or like neuroscience. The department specific websites may have more specific information regarding like faculty research. Another way is just to really get involved in getting to know like some of your professors, attending their office hours, asking about their work and their research, then potentially asking them about potential opportunities they might be able to point you in the right direction too. But I think even just kind of reaching out to faculty that you're maybe taking classes with that you're interested in is just a good way to really get started, especially as you kind of transition into sophomore year. You're going to start taking those upper division courses, maybe start thinking about research, maybe like junior year or so. Definitely getting to know the faculty is a good way to start too.
Great, thank you. Um, Another good question. If I'm interested in adding a major or a minor in another focus area, should I meet with you all first or should I meet with someone in that focus area? Can you still help me figure out how that might fit?
I can help answer this one. So you definitely want to check in with your cluster advisor first and know that you can receive a referral to the major or the other minor that you're interested in pursuing if it's in a different cluster. And the goal really is for you to learn with your advisor how much room you have in your schedule to fit in that second major or minor, and also learn about specific policies around double majors or a second bachelor's degree, minor requirements, and those kinds of things. So definitely your first starting point would be your cluster advisor, and to know that you can always get a referral to the other advisors where you can have a similar conversation focusing on that second program that you're interested in.
And then this is kind of a question for that multiple of you could answer if you like. But do you have any offices on campus or resources that you think a sophomore should definitely be taking advantage of?
There's,
So sorry.
Go for it.
Oh yeah. So one suggestion, especially when transitioning from first year to second year, is to definitely keep taking advantage of supplemental instruction, the Core Check Center, especially for students that don't have the best of organizational skills. There's been a lot of changes in your first year, but there's always improvements that can happen. So the Core Check Center is a great resource to help students better manage their schedules, how to better take or study, take notes in class, etc. So that's one of the resources that I always advise students to take advantage. In addition to also, start thinking about maybe that next career path, right? So definitely the Career Center is never too early or too late to talk to someone at the Career Center or career pathways. So it's something that I always advise students to start looking into it right away. So yeah, those are some. I don't know if somebody else has others.
I have another one to add, and some of you may already be familiar with this, which is the pre-health office. Their resources online are exceptional. There's also peer advisors. So definitely look into all of that for all of the various tracks within pre-health. And of course, planning to schedule a meeting or a time to meet with the pre-health advisor as you're moving through your curriculum and planning your applications for pre-health programs.
And then one last thing I'll mention too, like, going back to the Career Center, if you haven't looked at their website, it is a great wealth of resources there, and it even breaks it down like by year, like maybe what you should be thinking about, whether that's internships, or doing letters of recommendation, resume writing, and they host various workshops and everything throughout the semester, and they have a whole event section that they throw out there like throughout the semester. So there's a ton of things even happening this week, through the Career Center. So it's always one that I definitely recommend students take advantage of. And, yeah.
I would
Thank
just
you. Oh,
I
go
would just
ahead,
throw
please.
in one last thing is that any opportunities that you see for health and well-being, there's a lot of support for students to just have a balanced day, a balanced week, a balanced semester. So seek out those different programs, either through our student health center, um, that will allow you to kind of connect and just, have those balances because, you're going to be doing a lot of studying and there's also this part of us that we really do need to make sure that you're balancing out. So.
All right. Thank you all. Thank you to our panelists. Thank you for those who sent questions. We're going to go ahead and transition now into the second phase of our event, which are our breakout rooms by focus area. So we'll have breakout room 1 is for our life sciences focus area. Breakout room 2 is for physical sciences and math. If you do not remember which one you are supposed to be in, feel free to hang back and I'll help make sure you get to the right room.
All right, there we go. So first of all, again, welcome to the Life Sciences Breakout Room. We are going to go over a few things specific to this focus area. We can go ahead and skip on to the next slide. Thank you. So first of all, again, please let us know that you are here by going ahead and scanning the QR code. You can go ahead and fill in the check-in form that way. I'll also drop the link in the chat one more time. And again, as a reminder, just go ahead and edit your Zoom name to reflect your first and last name so that we are able to identify what kind of questions you have, especially related to your major. Now, next up, we do have our cluster advisors here to speak to you. But before we get there, I understand that you may have some questions that are specific to your major, specific to yourself. Please hang on tight to those questions. We will have a Q&A at the end of this session where you will be able to ask all of those questions. So for now, just hang tight to those questions. And once we get to the end, you can put them in the chat. You can unmute once we're at the Q&A. So I'd like to pass it over to our cluster advising team to introduce themselves and get this show started.
Okay, great. Thank you so much, Devanga. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Life Sciences breakout session. My name is Elisa Chavarria, and I'm an academic advising resource officer. And I work on special projects, and I also support academic advising here in Dorntype Advising. During the session, you'll get to hear directly from members of the Life Sciences case team, and we'll start off by having each of the advisors introduce themselves briefly and share a fun or fast fact. So I'll get us started. I always like to share that I was raised in Los Angeles, just a couple miles north of campus. I moved to the Bay Area for college, where I majored in economics, and then I returned to LA, where I started my career in higher education at USC. Currently, I live in New York City, which is the reason why my role with USC now is fully remote. And yes, this means I'm 3 hours ahead and I am Zooming from the East Coast. So next up, we'll go in the order of the folks who are photographed on the slide. So Natalie, would you briefly introduce yourself?
Thank you. Hi, everybody. My name is Natalie Inoue. I have been at USC for about a little over 20 years now, so it's great to now advise for the life sciences cluster. A fun fact about me, I played soccer in college as an undergrad and was a psychology major. So it's now kind of fun to now advise psychology major. So nice to meet you all.
Thank you. Pablo, you're next.
Hi everyone, my name is Pablo Lopez. I've been advising at USC for around 9 years, I want to say now, or 8 years, can't remember. I guess something interesting about me is, well, my wife also works on campus, and she works in res ed, so that provides me housing on campus. So I also live on campus like many of you.
Cool. That's a really fun fact. Claire, is Claire here?
No, she's not with us right now.
She's not. Okay. All right. So Claire Chung and also Irene Hidalgo, who are not on the call today, are other advisors you will have the opportunity to connect with as you move into your sophomore year. So we'll move on to the next slide. Stacy.
Hello, everyone. My name is Stacy Argueta. I've been at USC since February. Fun fact about myself, I'm a junior black belt in Taekwondo.
Impressive. Ji Woo.
Hello, everyone. My name is Ji Woo. Fun fact about me, well, I've been advising at USC about like 2.5 years now, and I was born and raised in Seoul, Korea.
Great. Next, we have Paul.
Hi, everyone. My name is Paul Perez. I'm also one of the life science advisors. Fun fact about myself, I always like to joke around that I'm cursed because I was born on Friday the 13th. So I always like to kind of just mess with people in that kind of way.
All right. And Elizabeth. Is Elizabeth here with us? Okay, Elizabeth is also part of the life sciences case team. And again, that's someone that you'll be able to interact with throughout your time sophomore year and moving on. Okay, so we all know that you can meet with us virtually, but we'd love to also meet with you in person. So the following slides will show various locations where you can meet with members of your case team in person. AHF, which stands for Allen Hancock Foundation Building, is where most of the life sciences case team is located. And Natalie, Pablo, Claire, and Irene are in AHF 107. We also have advisors in AHF 257, and that's where you'll find Stacy. Moving on to SGM 501, which stands for Sealy G Mudd Building, we have both Ji Woo and Paul. And last but not least, Elizabeth Linkus is fully remote, just like me. So now let's just dive in a little bit deeper into the various majors that comprise this cluster. So I'm going to read through these, and within the biological sciences department, there's a BA and a BS in biological sciences. And there's also 4 emphases. They are all BS majors. There's biotechnology, ecology, evolution and environment, marine biology, and molecular, cellular, and developmental biology. Within environmental studies, there's the BA and the BS, and there's also environmental science and health BA and BS. Human biology offers both a BA and a BS. And for psychology, there are 3 BA majors: cognitive science, psychology, social sciences with an emphasis in psychology. And then for neuroscience, there's the BA and the BS, and then also computational neuroscience, which is a BS. The minors advised for this program are 3 within biological sciences, which are biology and business, marine biology, natural science. Within environmental studies, it's the environmental studies minor. Human biology has 3 minors: human disease, biology of human movement, coaching, health and wellness, Neuroscience has the neuroscience minor, and psychology has psychology and also psychology and law. So now let me also share with you some key details about the biological sciences department. So I want to touch upon these emphases briefly. I mentioned them just now. They're biotechnology, ecology, evolution and environment, marine biology, and molecular, cellular, and developmental biology. It's okay if you want to pursue any one of these, but you don't need to rush into it. You can take your time. A lot of the specialized courses for these majors can be completed in junior and senior year. So definitely explore the types of electives that you want to take within this major if this is the major that you're pursuing. And know that any one of us can help you with course planning so that you can make sure you can fit all of these courses throughout your time at USC. I also want to highlight that certain BISC courses must be completed with a grade of C- or higher. So be sure to check your STARS report. There's a list of examples here of the types of classes that you'll need to earn a minimum grade in. Also, all students complete a 1-unit seminar, which is Introduction to Research. 193 is offered in the fall and 194 is offered in the spring. The course is credit, no credit, and you're encouraged to take it early on. Many of you may have already taken the course or you're in the class this spring. An important resource I'd like to mention is supplemental instruction, or SI for short. You heard about this in the main session. These are peer-led study sessions in traditionally difficult courses. And a lot of the subjects include biological sciences, chemistry, mathematics, physics, and psychology. A popular opportunity for this major is directed research, and this is an opportunity to earn academic credit for working in a laboratory as a research assistant. And for the biological sciences major, students can count up to 4 units of 490 directed research toward the major. And getting involved in student clubs is also a great way to connect with other students who have similar interests. And I encourage you to check out the various options on the Biological Sciences website. I also want to mention special courses, Maymesters, Julymesters. So the Biological Sciences Department offers marine biology courses at the Wrigley Institute for Environment and Sustainability on Catalina Island. Other BIS courses offered as Maymesters are traveling to other destinations. So definitely check out the Maymester, Julymester website for options. This is a great way to fit in a study away program. And I do want to highlight there's a summer course, Problems Without Passport, that travels to London and Oxford, and the focus is on biology of health from a global perspective. And the last thing I'll mention is the honors program for biological sciences, which includes enrolling in BISC 493 and 494, which I'll touch upon with a little bit more detail in this next slide before handing it over. So with the honors program, this is available both to students who are pursuing the BA or the BS. Students complete 2 semesters of BISC 493, which is an honors seminar, 1 unit each semester, and then 494, which is the thesis. And in addition, they do also have to complete all of the requirements for the BA and the BS degree, whichever major they're pursuing, and achieve a 3.5 science and math GPA. Honor students must also enroll in BIS 490. That's the directed research we've been talking about. So definitely pursue that if you're interested in it in honors, and know that you can count it as an upper division elective for your major. And successful completion of the program will allow you to read on your transcript notation that you've received a Bachelor of Arts in Biological Sciences with honors, or if it's a BS and a Bachelor of Science with honors. And you can see the link here for additional information. And you definitely want to allow yourself at least a full 3 semesters to complete the honors requirements. So that's kind of like a big soundbite on biological sciences. And I'll hand it over to Natalie, who will talk about human biology and environmental studies.
Thank you. Yeah, the human biology program, the curriculum is pretty straightforward, which is nice. We're all learning new majors as cluster advisors now. And I think as you are going into your sophomore year, you're probably already familiar that there are the different tracks that you can choose, in addition to the core requirements. Those are listed here on the slide. Many students are pre-health, and so the major really allows students to fulfill those pre-health requirements within the major. And there's space to add additional classes that are needed for the pre-health tracks. Just in general, I think for all of the natural science majors, generally avoid taking more than 2 STEM classes in a given semester. And we, as your advisors, will always, when we're helping you create your course plans, we will purposely do that for you. And so that is something, though, to keep in mind. There's no reason to kill yourselves. So that's a general rule, and that is usually very doable to limit and to take other classes, 2 STEM classes, and then 2 other classes of other requirements each semester. Resources and opportunities. The BISC 490 Directives Research class can be used to earn restricted elective requirement. So that is definitely an option that will count for your major. The Human Biology Association, that's something to look into as an HBio major. And then the HBio honors program, if you is optional, if you want to do the HBio honors, it's probably similar to the BISC honors. BISC 490 for 4 units, BISC 493 twice for 2 units, and BISC 494 for 2 units at the end to do the research project. So the environmental studies program is also very straightforward and very flexible. So there are 2 majors within environmental studies. The first one, there's environmental studies and then environmental science and health. So for the environmental science and health major, that one's typically the pre-health students will choose that major that fulfills the pre-health requirements. This slide focuses mostly on for both majors, but it's mostly the environmental studies students take more advantage of these opportunities. They have more space to fit these opportunities, but by no means does it exclude environmental science and health students if you have the time. For both majors, we have one director of undergraduate studies. Our DUS is Dr. Scott Applebaum, really approachable. He teaches a couple of classes in the program, obviously, and so he is the DUS, and he's open to students contacting him, definitely about different program opportunities, questions about the major, questions about like major requirements, obviously to work with your major advisor first on those. But like career questions or questions about specific about the program and different opportunities within the program, definitely can ask Dr. Scott Applebaum about that. And then we have a ton of ENS department experiential courses. There are the internship classes listed at the bottom of the slide. It's optional, which is nice, but it does count towards the major. And the internships are already established by the instructor. So I always recommend students take advantage of that internship class. It's open to juniors and seniors. So definitely something to check out. And then Elisa was talking about the Catalina Wrigley Institute for Environment Sustainability. That is something that I always highly recommend for students to check out. There are different ways to get over to Catalina, to the Wrigley Institute. There are Maymesters. There are a couple classes for Julymester, which are the ENST 320A and 320B water and soil sustainability courses. And so those are classes that do take place in the summer. but you register for them as either part of your spring or fall registration, which is nice. That way it's covered by financial aid. There are different research opportunities over at Wrigley and also additional internships over at Wrigley. So it's just a wealth of opportunities at Wrigley. So I recommend it for both majors. But as far as the curriculum goes, for both majors, very straightforward. For environmental studies, very flexible. Work with your advisor if you want to do substitutions or have credit elsewhere. And then for environmental science and health, it's basically the pre-med requirements. And then I say it's like with an Ernst minor attached. So there's a few other environmental studies courses that are required for that. So also very straightforward, not too complicated, but we're here to help you if you need it. And then next, going over the next slide is Pablo Lopez.
All right, everyone. So the neuroscience and computational neuroscience program, just here's some quick reminders as you all are transitioning. Just a reminder that most or all of our courses, not most, all of our courses for the major will need a grade of C minus or above. And courses cannot be taken out of sequence. For example, if any of you are taking, say, Physics A over the summer and are trying to do Physics B in the fall, make sure that you are taking an equivalent Physics A course. And if for whatever reason you do sign up for Physics B, if you did get a prerequisite waiver, and you do not take Physics A, for example, or any of the chemistries or anything like that, do not go on to the next course until you have successfully completed the class with a C minus or above. In your case, the things that might happen for many of you that might have started out of C or not on track with chemistry. So, for example, if you're taking Chem 105A right now and are trying to take OChem A in the fall, make sure that you are taking the correct Chem 105B course over the summer, etc. A lot of classes in the major, like biology, HBio, and environmental studies, they are on a sequence, as I've mentioned right here. So make sure that, like I said, you're always taking the class in sequence. And the other example will be BIS 421, which must be taken before BIS 407 and BIS 408. Most of you will hopefully have signed up for BIS 421 in the fall. And here's some reminders in terms of the prerequisites. For example, if you're taking Bio 220 right now, as long as you've completed a C minus or above in the class, you'll be able to go on to BIS 421. But if you get anything less than a C minus, again, make sure that you take Bio 220 first and pass it with a C minus or above. Many of you will also be pre-med, whether you're on the neuroscience BA, neuroscience BS, and some of you on the computational neuroscience track. As a reminder, even if you have AP scores, amazing, but you will likely still need to take the classes at USC. Always consult with the pre-health office to see if you are trying to use, say, for example, AP Psych for Psych 100, see if you will need it for med school or dental school, PA school, etc., right? And if they say it's fine to use your AP scores, make sure to let us know. But yeah, other than that, always make sure that you're communicating with us if you have any questions about the major or anything like that via support case at Advise USC. And I think there's another slide on here. Just some classes to highlight. Neural 490 is our specific directed research class. So this is a class that you cannot take until you are in your junior year. But 4 units can apply to your neuroscience BA or BS or minor, or 4 units for the additional course requirement for computational neuroscience students. I think it's always great for students to get involved in research, and I know many of you are eager. Some majors do offer a lower division class. Unfortunately, neuroscience does not, so you will need to wait until your junior year for this. 490, going on to the next point on the slide, is also part of the honors track. You don't have to be on the honors track to take neuroscience 490, but if you do complete the honors track, you will need to complete neuroscience 490, 2 units of 493 over 2 semesters, and then 2 units of 494 in your last semester, usually at USC. And again, like 490, the honors track is not started until your junior year at the earliest. But again, if you have any questions about completing honors or anything, always feel free to schedule an appointment or submit a support case on Advise USC with us. And I believe up next it is Ji Woo.
Hello, everyone. So I'm going to talk about the psychology majors. At the psychology department, we have 3 different majors: psychology BA, social sciences with emphasis in psychology, and cognitive science. Unlike other majors, these psychology department majors really do not require students to follow a certain sequence. As long as you take Introduction to Psych and some statistics course, such as Psych 274 and Math 114, students can generally take most of the upper division psych courses and upper division Cog Sci or social science courses. For psychology BA students are required to take 4 out of 5 categories, which are cognitive, developmental, clinical, biological, social. On top of that, students are required to take some methodology courses for psychology and some upper division psych electives. For social science, with an emphasis in psychology BA, as you can see, your diploma will state PA Social Sciences, not psychology. And this one is great because you have lots of freedom. Once you complete core requirements, you are required to take 5 psychology upper division courses and 3 social science upper division courses of your choice. So there are many, many courses out there, and then it's up to you whichever courses you choose. And cognitive science, you are required to take courses that appears in multiple flex core tiers. So there are tier 1 and tier 2. Tier 1 courses are more introductory courses, and tier 2 courses are more advanced courses. For resources and opportunities, we have some honor societies, Psych High and Omega Psi. We have great website. Psychology department is always up to date with their website. So if you guys need any guidance regarding research or study abroad, please check out our website because it's pretty great. We also offer Psych 290, Psych 490 research opportunities. Also, Cog Sci major offers Cog Sci 490, which is a research course for Cog Sci students. Please keep in mind that even though psychology BA and Cog Sci BA, they offer honors program, social sciences doesn't. Yep, that's pretty much it.
All right, thank you very much to all of our cluster advisors for covering all of the majors for us. We do have a few next steps for you now that you have met your cluster advisors and learned a bit more about the opportunities in your major. Let's go ahead and review those next steps before we jump into Q&A. So quick reminder, please make sure to RSVP for our One Dorn Sci Fest. I did go ahead and drop the link in the chat, happening this Thursday, April 23rd. This is our biggest event of the year. We will have in and out Dornsife swag. There'll be raffle prizes as well as various campus partners, faculty, and alumni. So it's a really big, happy end of the year celebration for you all. This can also be your first chance to connect with your cluster advising case team in person. So they will also all be there. Again, RSVP through the link in the chat, or if you do have the Engage SC app, you can always log into the app and then scan the QR code that is on this slide. That will work too. Next up, check your USC email on May 4th for your final First Year Insider, our First Year Advising newsletter. So this will have some transition-related reminders. It will also have links to the recordings of today's session, so that will be useful for you. And we'll also have some other resources to help you prepare for sophomore year. So just make sure you keep an eye out for that. And as the semester comes to a close, look out for an email and an Advise USC announcement from your first year advisor. So we will be sending you a fond final farewell, and shortly after, you will get a welcome email and an Advise USC announcement from your new cluster advising case team. And that will mean that you are officially starting to work with your cluster advisors from that day through to graduation, and your transition experience will be complete. So again, just remember to RSVP for One Dormsite Fest and keep an eye out in your email inbox for new emails coming through in the next couple of weeks. We can pop over to the next slide. Perfect. So as this is really important to us, before we get to your questions, please take a quick minute to share feedback about this event. Your responses are completely anonymous, and they will help us improve the transition experience for future students. So we would really appreciate if you take a quick couple of minutes to go ahead and let us know what you thought about these events, and if you have any suggestions for how we might improve them for next year's first year students, that would be really, really great.